Yo, wake up, wake up, wake up. We are back. It is the Listen Up Podcast. It's your boy Brandon.
This is your boy Sam.
Hey man, spring football is back. That means your favorite podcast is back, man, with some content. We're gonna discuss some spring football, some transfers. We're gonna dive into the dumpster fire that is the Gators. I think at some point we at least, just throw a passing shot. But definitely, man, come in and join us. We know we've been gone for a minute, man. Sam, what's up with you, man? What's been going on?
Man, it's been crazy. It's been crazy, man. I think we wanted to record almost a month ago, and man, I had so much stuff going on. My granddad passed, and he went, real slow. So it was like he had went in the hospital, and he didn't want to die in the hospital. So he was like, I want to go back home. So we all kind of chipped in to kind of be there for him. That last, I think it was like 2 months, I think they're like at the end. So, then he finally did pass out to February, and then, we had to get the funeral stuff and all that stuff together. And then between that, and I had already told you I was already making a move,
Mm-hmm.
So that I had that going on and, amongst other things. So, it's been a whirlwind, bro.
Man, I feel like I say this at least once every 6 months. It's just me and Sam. You know what I mean? Like, so when life happens, man, we just gotta, we take a break, we come back and we'll regroup for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, we're sorry for your loss. I know, we reached out to me and you have had, a couple conversations or whatever, just in the while you were going through everything, man. But it's definitely been it's been a minute, you know what I mean? It's been a minute, but again, it's just me and you, Sam, man. So anytime you say, "Hey, man, I just need a minute," we gotta take some time to, again, and it wasn't like it was nothing going on in football anyway. We love all the podcasts out there, man, and it's a struggle, man, to try to figure out how some of these people come up with content every day with nothing going on. But shout out to them, man. But we finally got something we can really cover. Things are slowed down, like you said, for Sam, and slowed down for me as well. We finally got used to the baby. We kind of finally got a good sleeping schedule. I feel like I've actually had, a night of rest a little bit, so now the
Really?
baby's getting a little bit, again, not a lot.
Okay.
But,
Okay. I'm about to say, really?
I don't. I've just had but I've had more than what it was at the beginning, man. If I can get a good 4 or 5 hours of sleep, which is what he's giving us, at night before you really want to wake up, and then he'll lay down for
Right.
another 4. Or I take that because it was like an every hour thing at one point, and that ain't.
Yeah.
That's just not
It's
good for
funny.
nobody.
It's funny. I mean, I've had my son pretty much by myself for like since he was 3 months old. 3 months old. But I will tell you, he didn't, like, as a baby, he slept, dude. Like, he didn't bother me too bad. Like, now I'm not gonna lie, he getting it all back now. Like, he getting it all back now. You know what I'm saying? He getting it all back
Yeah.
now. But when he was like a baby, it was just me and him. He would go to sleep, wake, like, feed him, go to sleep. He was good. You know what I'm saying? Those was like glory years for him.
No, man.
But
Apparently,
he getting it
I've
back
heard.
now though. He don't go to sleep now, bro. Like, especially with this time change, like he going to bed at 8, he back up at 2:00, 1:00 in the morning talking to me. I'm like, bro, you got to go back to sleep.
You gotta go to sleep.
So
Yeah, see,
so it's been, but man, though, that's good though, man. Congratulations on the little one. Them first couple months be scary though, right? I used to always check to see if my son was breathing.
Oh man, I do it all the time. Like if he
Yeah.
sleeps for like 2 hours, I wake up in a panic. You know what I mean? After about 2 hours, I'm like, oh, what's going on? I gotta go up there. I touched his arm a little bit. He was so tired. We took him around my mom's house the other day, and they just kept him up. And normally he's usually asleep after about an hour, 90 minutes max. You know what I mean? At this age, man, they had him up for about 3 or 4 hours just playing. I was like, he got in the car and he crashed. I don't think he woke up. We probably left my mom's house like 5 o'clock. He didn't wake up till like 8:39. I had to go in there and touch his hand a little bit. You're like, you all right over here? Yeah, he'd been sleeping for that long during the daytime, man. We get a little nervous. So yeah, I'm with you. Those first 3 months, man, you just keep checking to make sure they breathing, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. You get out in the first couple months. You get out in the first couple months, you feel like you accomplished something though. But I see Till Dog say he laid his mom down to rest, man.
Rest in peace,
man. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough when you start letting those older people like that, people that shaped your shaped your childhood and shaped your who you are as a person, and they start
Right.
leaving. It takes
Right.
great effect on you, man. Great effect. So, anybody that's lost anybody, man, condolences, man, because it's been tough. But man, what was he gonna talk about? So I know we want to get into a little bit of some of these the positions that we feel like are a lot better this year. We want to get into make sure I get this right. A couple of potential portal players that we think, guys that might see the portal, camp
Hmm.
matchups and camp competition, how much is better this year, man. So where you want to start?
I mean, I guess since the spring practice was just yesterday, I don't know if been reading some of the reports out of the spring practice. First, I think he said Jordan Travis didn't practice, so it's a or didn't compete in the spring practice. I think according to Mike Norvell, but
Which
I
make
think
which makes sense to me, right? That would make sense to me.
well, I was gonna say I think that's actually a positive thing, right? Like
Yeah.
if you listen to what Mike said, he basically said he was killing it. You know what I mean? He's been killing it in practice, playing at an elite level, and just didn't need to see anymore. I mean, if you tell me my fifth year starting Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback is balling so hard to where he don't need to come, he don't need to even compete in the spring. We don't need to see anymore. We know what we got
Mhm.
here. Man, that's a wonderful thing. You know what I mean? We went into I think last season still not sure who was going to start. What we would have. I guess the year before that, really who was going. We weren't sure who was going to start. So to see
Mhm.
the progression again of Jordan Travis, of all right, we don't know who we got in this guy. All right, we're gonna make you compete for this one. Last year, all right, this is your team. Let's see. And now this year going into it, hey, I don't even need to see anymore. You're playing at that high of a level. I think it's all positives, man. And so that's a dope thing in my opinion when you look at the maturation and the maturity, but also he's had a lot of press that's come his way, and he's still been focused to come in the spring and still be able to get his, and to say for the coach to basically look at him and tell him that he had no need to, we don't need to see anymore. We know what we got here, and to let like I said, Glenn take go live with it. So
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things where I feel like the position groups are so stacked. I think. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, they're so stacked that I think that and because the offensive lines are, you have a little bit more depth at offensive line now.
Hmm.
I think you really can push these quarterbacks, especially younger quarterbacks, put them in certain situations, and really get a good evaluation on them now. In the past, I don't think that was possible. You know what I'm saying? In the
Hmm.
past, I don't think that was possible, but now I think it is possible. So it's really good. Even and then with Jordan Travis, like he's got to get to that point now where he's got to be the leader of the whole team, which he was last year. So him being more like a GA, assistant coach in
Hmm.
those situations where he's with the whole team while they running these drills and stuff. I think it's pretty. I think that's a good place. I think we're in a good place with that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think that's a very good place.
And
Again,
he's played a lot of
you
football, so
and again, he's been. I don't want to say knock on wood, but he has been a little bit accident prone or injury prone. So
that's true.
if
Yeah.
we don't have to take if we don't have to get him hit, if we don't have to see him live, what I mean, we don't need a twisted ankle. We don't need what I mean. So I think I look at Mike and Mike saying if this is how you're looking right now, I don't need to see anymore. Keep watch it from my perspective, so that way you can see something different. You know what
Right.
I mean? And again, but
Yeah.
it's a testament to Jordan being in a
Right.
better place, and that again, it's a place that we didn't think we would see 2 years ago. I know for sure when we started last season, I didn't think we knew what we would see out of Jordan Travis. We hope he'd take a step up, and he did.
Mhm.
He took strides. You know what I mean? We asked Jordan to win games last year for us, and he did. He literally put the team on his back in a couple games, and we saw it. And so I think next year, man, it's a special year for him. But I think that was a big positive. That was one of the takeaways I saw. Jordan Travis is basically standing with the coaches. Um,
Yeah.
Good problem. I think one
And
of
it
the
also
other.
tells you that you know, it kind of helps you with your development in 2024 with some of the young guys too. So I think it's all around good thing that Norvell's letting Glenn and Duffy and
Mhm.
Tate, you know, grab most of those reps in springtime. Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Now, I do think they have. You think they have one too many quarterbacks, or you think everybody's sticking around?
I think they got. I think the quarterback situation is gonna be fine, right? I think I think after this year, maybe one guy leaves after the year. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But I
Yeah.
think for now, I think all your quarterbacks are going to be there. I think that it's really going to depend on what goes on with Duffy and Glenn. That who comes out looking really good this year, and who the team and who the coaches believe can play. Because I mean, you're already going to bring in like probably a top 50 quarterback next cycle. Luke, the
Hmm.
Tomahawk kid. So what you're doing there. I mean, of course you're gonna have some guys decide I don't want to be here anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, but right
Yeah. Yeah.
now, all eyes for those young quarterbacks should be taking a job in 2024, getting as good as you can get. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
they're in a good place, and I think they're going to see reps, man, because I think it's going to be a lot of blowouts this year, so they'll get reps. So the opportunity to play and grow and develop. I mean, I don't see a reason why anybody would leave, to be honest with you. And at the quarterback position, I'm not talking about everybody's position, but quarterback position.
But the quarterback position. All right. So
Mhm.
along the lines of camp competition, right? I think that second DN spot is up for grabs, and according again camp reports, Peyton. You know what I mean? Like I know on the timeline it was I guess towards the end of last season, everybody wasn't sure. I think I hedged mine to Peyton being that second DN spot opposite of I don't know why his name just escaped me. Dude who
Jared
returned.
Verse. Jared
Thank you,
Verse.
Jared Verse. I don't know why his name just escaped. Jared Verse, opposite of Jared Verse. Yeah, right. The 40s. They turn 40 and all of a sudden just memory go. Can't remember simple things.
Mhm.
But no, man. but yeah, no, but opposite Jared Verse, man, I think I picked Patrick Payton, and to see, the size he's put on, they talk about him being better at run stopping, which I always thought he was actually better in my opinion than Jared Verse in run stopping, because I thought he was a little bit less bull in the china shop. Like he wasn't just trying to get off the edge. So I always thought he was a little
Right.
better than Jared Verse in run stopping. So to hear him, improvement on run stopping, but also getting to the quarterback as well. Um, Good news, because again, I think of all those other defensive ends, Patrick Payton is elite, and I also believe that if your DNs are able to create pressure, it makes your entire defense look better. You know what I mean? If those DNs and your defensive line is able to just create with four, man, that frees those linebackers up. It helps your DBs look better, which is why I think you also see an improvement in Greedy Vance. According to camp reports. So I mean, the defensive end, but I guess how do you feel about the defensive end competition as a whole? Because and also just Peyton shining right now.
It's weird to me because I don't know why there's this big push with the defensive ends as far as like people saying, like I know they were talking about Derek McClendon, potentially getting in the portal or whatever. I'm kind of thinking to
Hmm.
myself, like, like why would he get in the portal to me? Because I mean you're gonna play a lot,
Hmm.
he's gonna play a lot. Um I mean, his body type doesn't scream out, NFL pick, right? Um, I think the best he
Hard to
can do
tell
is
these
probably
kids
be
that though.
well, yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying in general, like it's hard to imagine him um going. I mean, it's just hard for me to see him leaving somewhere like Florida State, going to a program at the same status, the same place, and getting playing time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't. I can't see that for him. You know what I'm saying? I like McClendon. I like McClendon a
Oh,
lot. I like the McClendon more than other people like the McClendon when he came out. You know what I'm saying?
hmm.
Um, I do think he's still good. I think he's a good player. The Gilbert Edmond kid and Patrick Payton. Now Patrick Payton has a little bit more talent than McClendon, right? He's a little faster, a little quicker, got
Hmm.
a lot more bend to him, not as stiff. So it makes sense to me as he gains weight that he's gonna eventually, because he's the type of guy that could eventually become a second round, third round pick in the NFL draft. You know what I'm saying? He could become
Right.
that. So it does make sense to me that you will see him being featured a little bit more and being playing a little bit more. So I don't know what the McClendon beef was, to be honest with you. I do know kids feel certain kind of ways
It's
about
simple.
who gets
Yeah.
exposure and who doesn't. Because I heard it was like something like, and I can see, you bring in a bunch of transfer, and this is the kind of drawback when you bring in a bunch of transfers that you're gonna
Hmm.
upset a la carte of the other kids on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you putting them in front of press conferences and doing all this stuff for these people that just got here, they haven't earned the right. You know what I'm saying? I get that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm always kind of like, taking a couple transfer, not 10, 12, 15 every year. But we did what we had to do to be a have a good season this year. So I'm not mad at them for doing that.
Right. This may come off insensitive, and I'm gonna say play better. Be be better.
Yeah, be better. Yeah,
Nobody has to recruit over you if you're better. You know what I mean? If your position's solid, you holding it down, you doing what you need to do, then nobody brings in the transfer portal. If McClendon was up to par or whatever you need, then there's no need to bring in you know what I mean? There's no need to bring in anybody over top of him. So
right.
I look at, you know what I mean? So I look at it and say, just play better, man. That across the board. If you feel like your position is not safe, then go out there and compete for it. Go out there and fight for it.
Right.
And that's really what I think Mike Norvell is asking. And that's why he's bringing in these guys. I know they feel like, I imagine McClendon should feel like, hey man, I've earned it. I put in a lot of work harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand. You know what I mean? I get how you feeling. I understand how I paid my
Hmm.
dues. I put in time, but Florida State, I think this season, whether we may want to believe it or not, or whether we think it's a realistic possibility, they're competing for a championship. Or at least they want to be competing for a
Yeah.
championship. They want to be in the playoffs.
It is a
So
possibility. It is a
yeah.
possibility. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
not crazy. It's not
No,
insane.
no, not at all. So they believe that they're competing for a championship. So if they believe they're competing for a championship, then you got to bring in elite level talent. You have to have good players playing. And if Mike looked at McClendon and said, he all right, he's a very solid player. He's a good rotational guy, but we need somebody, we need a difference maker. Then hey, either go prove to the coach that you're a difference maker, or they gonna find somebody to better than you. Like that's just the
Hmm.
nature of college football right now. You know what I mean? There is free agents. It's basically wide open free agency. These NIL deals, the way things are working, the landscape is different than even from when he came into college. You know what I'm saying? So right now, man, it's just everybody. If you know you on the fringes, hey, either like you said, he ain't transferring to another big school. So that means he's gonna have to take a step back. I'd
Yeah.
imagine he'd probably do better off as a rotational player, and that's why I think if he is flirting with the idea, I think if he really sits out there and talks, he's probably getting interest from UCF, FAU.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
that level of program. I don't know if he,
somebody like
maybe a
maybe like a
Louisville, maybe
maybe
you
like a
know what I mean?
Louisville, like Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, not South Carolina.
No,
I mean, 'cause South
but you know what I
Carolina
mean.
recruits at a
So
pretty high level.
right. So I mean, he's not going to another championship team. That's in other words. So I think he can look
Yeah.
around and he can say, I can either be a rotational piece, a good rotational piece on a championship competitive team, or I can go and be a starter on a non-competitive team. He's gonna have to decide which one is best for him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
and I think that got a lot to do with it. So I mean, we'll see what happens with him. I mean, I personally, I'm a big fan of McClendon, to be honest with you. So,
yeah,
uh, but I think the defensive end group is going to be interesting because man, they do need Peyton to step up, and they do got Verse. And that's two guys, but man, after those two guys, I don't. It's not a lot of special there. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of special there. So they need to get guys to be pretty special. They need some special guys there. You know what I'm saying?
definitely. You go, yeah.
And
Like I said,
Peyton has
players
to hit
gonna
a
have to step
ceiling.
up.
Yeah, Peyton got to hit a ceiling. You know, because he got a higher ceiling than most of those guys in that room, outside of Verse. So, but outside of those two guys at defensive end, they're not very dominant right there. So that's something they got to really work on. What about D tackle? They talk about D tackle, man, is like pretty good group,
It should
full of
be right.
competition.
I mean,
Somebody
they've added in the. Go ahead.
somebody talking about Daryl Jackson probably being like the better defensive tackle that's been there. Even though they say Fabian's not practicing right now.
Is that surprising though? I mean, I know we looked at Miami. We said Jackson, may not be whatever we thought he might. I actually like Jackson. You know what I mean? I think,
Mhm.
and then if you look at all right, who they brought in outside of Fabo, he really has a legitimate shot to compete to get that starting spot. I know, there's been a lot of raves about some other players, but at the end of the day, Jackson actually came from a I don't want to say quality program because Miami is a dumpster fire too, but he came from a quality program. You know what I mean? He came from a quality program. So
Right.
I'm honestly not surprised that Jackson
Mhm.
would be the one who would step up early. I think he had the easiest
Well,
transition.
I think Fisk and Fabo, I think, are hurt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But I mean, again,
Defensive point
Fable, I
back.
think is secured in his spot too. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
don't have to roll Fable out there, I don't think you need to roll Fable out there.
and that's another
So
group. Well, that's another group where they need some attrition. Like Malcolm Ray probably need to you know, you know, you know. Just saying.
listen, I've been very clear. You know what I mean? If you're not cutting it, they are trying to compete for a championship. You have to
Mhm.
like. There's gonna be levels. Somebody
Yeah,
is just gonna sit on that bench and not. They ain't gonna get very much playing time. If they want to be along for the ride, I'm not gonna tell Malcolm Ray to hit the portal. If Malcolm Ray want to sit there and get in on spot duty whenever, you know what I mean, in some blowout
yeah.
games, by all means, Malcolm, you know what I mean, be there for it. Give our players some
Mm.
rest. We can get out early. You know what I mean? But in the competition between really is Fisk and Jackson, right? I
Well,
can
I
definitely
think
see
you
Jackson
get.
starting early and Fisk coming in late and
I
Fisk
think you
taking
get.
over later on.
I think you get a rotation of Fabian, Fisk, Jackson, and Briggs in
Mm-hmm.
big games, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
see a little sprinkle of Joshua Farmer, a little sprinkle of
Mm-hmm.
Farmer to go to supplement those guys. But I think that's pretty much what your rotation is going to look like with those guys,
But
in
that's a
big
good
game.
rotation. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Considering what we
Not bad.
had, that is not a bad rotation by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah,
you tell me that's if you just stop at the four, if that's the four we're rotating out, I'll take it all day,
yeah,
especially from where we've been at. You know what I mean? From where we've been, the fact that we got full rotation pieces, because it used to be, you got one in the possible. You know what I mean? Like, or you got a couple
yeah,
possibles. You don't have a
yeah.
handful of, you know what I mean? You got a handful of spades.
And
So
like
the
I
fact
kept
is,
saying last year, I wasn't overly impressed with the defensive tackles last year. I know everybody else used to make a big deal about them. I never thought they was good last year, to be honest with you. I thought in big games they got bullied and pushed around. I mean, they had some moments. They would have moments in games, but to me, they wasn't consistently dominant. So I think with a deeper rotation, now they look like they could possibly be three deep. I think they could probably be a dominant unit in big games. They could be a difference makers in big
mhm,
games now. I didn't feel that way last year. I felt like a lot of people was just lying to themselves in those games. But this year, I
Sam,
feel like they got a
I tweeted
possibility.
out. I tweeted out in the middle of the Florida game, the entire D line need to come back. That includes Fable, that includes Verse. I
Yeah,
like
I mean,
in the middle of the Florida game, it was very obvious that none of those guys were ready to take the next step. Like Florida was the best offensive line they had seen, and with in my opinion, with a first year coach who, from all looks, seems pretty incompetent, looking a little funny in the light. We'll say it like that.
yeah,
Um, and they got dominated. They got dominated by that offensive line, by that offensive line. So I said, nope,
yeah. And they
everybody
got
got to
and
come
they
back.
got and then they got pretty much dominated against Oklahoma with a bunch of backup offensive linemen. You know, so it's like I wasn't overly impressed with those guys last year, but I think with a deeper rotation, I do think they can be dominant. So I'm still more so in a wait and see situation with this defensive tackle group. I know people are very excited about them, and I'm not saying don't get excited about them, but I need to see them. Like that LSU game is going to tell me a lot because Fisk coming from, I think I don't know where some lower school. I got to
Mm-hmm.
see him. I got to see him against LSU. Fabian played pretty good against LSU last year in spots
He
and
did.
certain times. I thought the D line was dominant in that game, but I also thought that they would be because that was LSU's first game with a first time, with those offensive linemen they was putting together in that
Right.
game. But so I got to see this defensive tackle group actually take that next step and be a dominant group. The schedule says to me that they should dominate 9 out of the 11, 12 opponents that they're going to play. They should dominate those opponents. You know what I'm saying?
It's the
So
thing. It's a money year for all that entire D line.
yeah, it was a
It's
money year
cash.
for Fabian. It was a money year for Fabian
No,
last
he
year.
still had no. He
It
had
was a
this
money year
year.
for Robert Cooper.
It was for Coop. Nah, but he still
Yeah,
had. I mean, I think I look at Fable, and I think he still was like, I can come back for another year if it don't work out. Verse 2, right? Verse
yeah.
knew he had another year to come back as well. This is the money year. Verse ain't coming back a second time, and Fable can't. You know what I mean? Um, this is a
Okay.
money year. I think you look at a lot of guys, and I think they saying it's all or nothing. We came back, we put all our
Yeah.
chips in the table for this season. I imagine those
Mhm.
guys are working their ass off in order to make in order to make some real differences and impacts in these games. So I actually
Yeah,
believe the defensive line will be what we think they will be, and they'll be
yeah.
dominant this season. Again,
It's taking us it's taking us some time to get through these. So I think we're just gonna do just the defense this episode. We'll go to the offense next episode. Because I was just looking at the
yeah,
time like, damn, we had 25 minutes already. Okay. So I was like, well,
right.
man, we get to the
We don't
offense.
only talk. we just got
Yeah.
to defensive line. Yeah, to the defensive
Yeah,
line.
yeah. So the next group is the linebacker group, which they got to take a huge step too, man. And when I say taking steps, I don't mean they're not a good group that they cannot beat most of the ACC teams. I think they can. I'm talking about as far as competing and probably winning a national championship, going to the Final Four, this such and
Hmm.
such. Um,
Hmm.
Bethune, Deloach. I think we know what they are. I think both of those guys have kind of hit their ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Hmm.
they two quality backers. Um, I think with them being in the scheme another year, I think Bethune will be a little bit more physical, and I think Deloach he is a physical guy himself. But I think he'll have a better idea of what he's doing also. Um, but they gotta find something outside of Lundy. And I'm curious what Gant can be. So if Omar Graham and Gant can step up, I
Hmm.
think you can have a pretty solid group there. Plus, you do get I'm gonna say this right here too, man. I'm all in love with the true freshmen that's coming in and everything, man. But don't we kind of do this every year in springtime? We get some true freshmen in, everybody kind of talks them up, and then we don't see them the whole season. Like,
That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. Like every
we
year.
gotta stop
Again,
this.
you won't hear me mention a freshman.
Yeah,
You won't hear me
like
mention a freshman. I get outside
you
maybe
know.
when we get to the offense. You know what I mean, next pod or whatever it is. When we get to the offense, I may mention a wide receiver.
But I mean,
That's
we do this
about
every
it.
time. So I'm not too concerned about the kid that come from Cali that's gonna be a true freshman. Like I said, I don't foresee a true freshman coming now. If that kid can come in and play, that'll be great. But they got to get a little bit more depth at linebacker. And Deloach and Bethune got to play. I think they got to be a little faster. They got to play a little faster, a little bit more physical for them to get what they're trying to get at. And I think with a better D line in front of them, I think we could see Deloach and Bethune take that national championship type step.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, right? I think starter wise, I actually think our two up front are very good, and I do think they will take another step this year, right? I think they
Mm.
were a bright spot last year, at times, and they definitely flashed. They were a huge upgrade from what we had previous years. So, yeah, you bringing them both back, I think it's huge. I do think that makes a big difference. I think those guys will play faster. I think they'll play smarter. Another year in the system for Bethune that allows him, you know what I mean, to flow, like you said, a little bit more quicker, be quicker to some of his decisions or whatever. Also, with an improved defensive line play, it frees those linebackers up to look a lot better as well, to get sideline to sideline. So I actually look at the linebacker group and I say, starter wise, I think we're gonna be straight. We get
Yeah.
into the but if somebody go down, depth wise, fatigue, I'm not. I don't feel I don't feel great about what's happening on behind those guys, and that's where I worry about. You know what I mean? Now again, if one of those freshmen step up and play, take a step up and is able to jump into that starting spot, man, I'll be glad. But at this point, like you said, we haven't seen freshmen come in and really make any impact on the
Yeah, well,
game
we
in
haven't
any in
we
a very
haven't
long time.
we haven't recruited at that type of a level where a true freshman or a guy that's in
Right.
year two of the program is taking huge steps like that. So I
Very
mean, but
true.
ultimately they need Omar Graham to be a player next year. They need Omar Graham to be a player. They need Gant to be a player. You know what I'm saying? And they got to
Hmm.
find another guy. They got to find another guy. I mean, I'm not gonna keep stressing this Lundy thing, but that is what that is. You know what I'm saying? They can hype that up every summer, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna always win the shorts Olympics. You know what I'm saying? But you got to get some guys that can run out there, man.
Well, just again, right, and this is why we. I'm gonna say I'll be a little bit more critical just because I believe the goals are different. You know what I mean? Last
Yeah.
year we didn't know how many games we were gonna win. We had no idea.
Mhm.
Like they ranged from 6 to 10. You know what I mean? And nobody had a clue of which one was right. And anywhere
Mhm.
in between would, and all of them were correct, predictions, right? The ones who predict 10, they look like geniuses or whatever. The one who predicted
Right.
6 also makes sense because again, based on what we had seen in years past, there was no reason for you to think they was getting beyond 6. We didn't know this maturation. This year though isn't the same. So when we're saying, hey, we appreciate London for everything he's done, but you can't continue to roll him out here as your first off the bench. He can't be like you.
Right.
It just
I mean,
not and get to the
situationally,
goal and not and get to
yeah,
the goals that you want to have. You know what I mean? If the goal is the
situationally,
championship, Lundy it can't be your first rotation.
yeah, situationally, he does some things that you like. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Short,
you
short,
got to,
short yardage. Yeah.
yeah, short yardage. You need a thumper in the middle. Okay, that's fine. I
Yeah.
like it. But and the way modern college football is now, the way they're throwing the football and these running backs on wheel routes and stuff, man, tight ends on wheel routes, you don't need that. It's embarrassing. But let's get to the secondary, which I think is very interesting. They move Amari and Cooper to like a free safety role, I think. No, I think he's at a buck role, I think.
And they move somebody else to safety too. Who got moved to safety?
So they said they got him playing more like a nickel. So I'm confused by the Amari and Cooper thing. So he must have hurt himself and
Yeah,
now
yeah.
he can't run like he used to.
I don't know, honestly, and
That's the only
I
thing
have
that makes sense though, right? That he can't run like he used to.
they ain't the only thing. I mean,
Yeah, free
it
safety.
ain't it ain't the only thing. I mean, it is
One of those
possible he
curious
just
cases, like how can you be good your freshman year at cornerback, and you come back your next year, you complete disaster that you have to make a whole position change. That's like so odd to me. You know what I'm
he
saying? Like, how does
again
that
he may have
happen?
just, again, it could have been a flash in the pan. Beginners, I honestly have no idea. I look at it and say this: if they
I mean,
believe he's a better safety,
I do know he got outclassed a little bit in that Florida game, that last game of the season, the Florida game. Remember the Florida game? He got
yeah,
when
they picked on him.
against yeah, they picked on him a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
they picked on him.
uh I just
That's what I'm
don't
saying. I just
know.
don't know if he ever had the footwork or the speed really to be a DB. Like, man, sometimes you can look good just because you're not playing elite quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's true
honestly, I
too.
don't. I It's not like the ACC got a whole bunch of what I mean, elite level players that was playing his freshman year. So I can look at Duke and I can say, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how good he is. I know last year he was not good at all. I know that's a position that you recruited very well at. So if he wanted to play, hey, go to safety. And like Mantra just said, they actually said he's done well at safety.
Yeah, but they're gonna say everybody
Sometimes
look
those
good.
guys, man,
Has they have but has
yeah,
anybody
but
have anybody
I'm
ever
saying the
given
coaches,
Kent?
the coaches made it a point to point out that he actually looked good
Yeah, but they
in that
always say that.
role.
Do they ever say anybody look bad? They never come out and say, hey,
No, but
we
they
still
also
need to
didn't
pick
have
it
to
up a little
highlight
bit.
it either, though. They usually
Yeah,
just don't say nothing, though, right? Like I
but
think,
you know how they do. But you know how they
yeah,
do. I mean,
yeah,
they say
they
everybody look
do.
good. If you ask about a player, oh yeah, he's working through it. Oh yeah, he looking good. Oh, then you find out the guy didn't even practice a whole week.
That's right about it. They do be lying. But I do. I
I
agree.
just,
I'm just saying. I did
I
read.
think I
I
love
did
what.
read where I think what was it? Fuller made it a point to point out the fact that he actually looked good or whatever. The same way he
And
pointed
do you
out that
think they're
Kate
doing
looked
that
good.
because they don't want him to transfer?
Absolutely. You
Yeah,
got again. I've told you. You got to recruit your current players, and you got to recruit other players now. It's different. So if you got to say something nice to him in public, so he can see his name, so his mama can read the fact that the coach said something good about it. Hey
yeah.
man, do it. You know what I mean? He actually might be looking good at safety. You know what I mean?
You know,
So
he
if
could.
if
He
he's
could.
yeah, so if he actually is looking good at safety, this role works out better for him. Great. I mean, because again, I think well, I don't think. We know he has some potential. You know what I mean? We know he actually does have some talent there. It's just a
Right.
matter of putting him in the right positions. Our previous coach, who not the previous coach, but one of our previous coaches, who shall not be named, move players around all the time. He saw that, hey, you weren't in the right position. I think you do better in this role.
Yeah.
Cool, let's go. So let's hope that Duke can flourish in this safety role. And so who you got to start in there? If Duke's been moved to safety, who's your starters?
Well, I think you go with Dent. I think Dent's going to be a safety. Brown's going to be the other safety. I think you're going to have to put the Finchar kid at the boundary corner, and I think the battle between Jones and Green is interesting. If it was me, and I could go, me. I like go big. I like big nickels personally because I like the
Mhm,
blitz nickels. You know what I'm saying? So if it
mhm.
was me, if I felt like I could get away with it, man, I would probably go with somebody like a Jarian Jones. Um, I do like the
Boy,
ideal of Travis.
think about that for a second, boy. You just said
Yeah,
Jarian Jones
because I
as you
think the
would go
thing,
with.
but see, I like Green. I like Green because he's physical and he is scrappy. But I like long cornerbacks and stuff like that. Pause. So I probably go. The AZ Thomas thing is gonna be interesting too because I think he can play outside. So I'll probably put AZ outside of Finchro and probably go Jones in my nickel because I think Jones is more like a safety type anyway. To be honest with you,
I agree with that. I would agree. Say I think they he flashed at the end of last season a lot,
he
right?
was playing
And I
good.
think
He was playing good at the end
yeah,
of
and,
last
and
season.
it's funny you said that because when you said Jones, I was like, I think I might go with Jones just because the way he played at the end of last year. But I do think it's again one of those good problems because I think if you tell me I got Green and Jones battling out for a spot, we know I think Fintrell is pretty much going to start that other spot. Coop at the back end. I do think you got a lot of talent all around. It's just a matter of what man, what defense are they playing, who calling the plays, and how good do they look doing it. You know what I mean? Have we fixed the problem with the coaching change? Have we fixed the problem of the front end knowing what the back end is doing, or the back end playing out of position, or
Right.
the back end having some miscommunication issues because somebody's playing man, but the other people playing zone. You know what I mean? Like we there's clips
Mhm.
of we couldn't figure out whose fault it was. You know what I mean? And anytime I think you can look at the defense and not have a good idea of who was supposed to play what. Oh, I think he was supposed to cover over. You know what I mean? I think that's a sign of coaching, in my opinion. And Adam Fuller,
Mhm.
I know we found a lot of stats to say that he's not been as bad as what we made it to be. We're gonna agree to disagree on that. But I do think if Adam Fuller is able to work better with our new DB coach, I think you can see some positives. But I think a lot of stuff that happened in that back end didn't have as much to do with talent, but had a lot to do with coaching and players being put in poor positions.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting with the defensive backs because you don't want to lose any guy for transfer. So I mean, but
Mhm.
if you just look at how many guys you got a potential at 1, 2, 3. Hold on, you got a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got a potential about like 10 guys that's played a little bit for you, and that
Mhm.
if these guys reach their potential, I mean, like if Travis J reaches his potential and is eligible and can play, I mean, would there be a better safety on the team than Travis J? Probably
No.
not. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You know what Akeem Dent is, right? You know what
Mhm.
Brown is. Those are three
Mhm.
really good safeties. You know what I'm saying? AZ Thomas, Green, Jarian Jones, Fintrell, that's pretty good. Kevin Knowles played a little bit for you last year. Greedy Vance, personally, I think not having Kevin Knowles on the field is like a good thing, personally. But Greedy Vance, I
Let
know
me ask
everybody loves Greedy, and everybody's saying Greedy's playing really good. I'm not a big fan,
mhm.
but at the same time, he did play a lot of football last year, and he was pretty good at the end of the season. So,
Another guy.
um,
Coach said he was looking good. He looked good in the
yeah,
spring.
yeah,
I mean, in the
yeah,
practice.
everybody,
So.
everybody looking good. Everybody looking good. We know, we know. Everybody looking good. Everybody.
Sam ain't falling for none of it.
No,
Sam
bro,
say
I just be
everybody
tripping
looking
out.
good.
I be tripping out with them. Every time they ask about a player, they be like, "Oh, this guy doing this guy doing." I'm like, "All right, everybody looks great. Okay, all right, cool, all right, awesome." Then we get to the game, it's like, huh, that guy was looking
Well,
good, huh?
it's funny. You know, on the DBs though, I think do you find it concerning that we don't hear AZ as much?
No, not really, because we've seen camps go by where you don't hear a guy like it's like Pokey Wilson for like the last 3 years. Nobody ever talked about him, but he was always starting and making plays. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Nobody ever mentioned Pokey until Pokey was in the end zone dancing. You'd be like, "That's right, we do got Pokey out there." Like,
Pokey's on the
it'd be
team, yeah,
whenever
bro.
you needed a
So
touchdown, it was a big game. All right, it's Pokey time. You know what I mean?
What I
Like,
th- what I
yeah,
think
you right
happens
about
is what I think happens is certain like spring football in football practice settings, certain guys look better in shorts and in practice settings, and
Mhm.
then other
Yeah.
guys just they may not look as good, or they might be so consistent at what they do that nothing ever flashes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so
Right.
consistent and nothing really
Mhm.
flashes to people. Like, I used to always find it funny. Like people keep talking about the Darian Williamson kid, right? The
Mhm.
wide receiver. And I'll
Yeah.
be like laughing because I'm like, dude, I cannot remember anything that he's done in a game that makes y'all feel like he's like the next Peter Ward. Like I don't know what's going on with that. Like, but at the same time,
Who said that?
I can't.
Somebody said that?
No, people be really talking Darian Williams up. Like you ever be in some of these like Twitter chats and these Twitter
Yep.
chats and
Sure
stuff, they
enough.
always talking about Darian Williams. Oh man, he's probably one of the most talented guys. He was in the. I'm like, is he? Where? Where is this happening at? Like where is this
Yeah,
stuff
like, yeah,
going
send me
on
the
at?
footage. Like,
Yeah,
yo, if y'all
but
are
I
listening,
but
y'all
I
got
just
the room for
imagine
footage. I'll be
I
willing to
just
lie with y'all. I just want to see it.
I just imagine in practice, maybe he does look like the absolute second coming of Randy Moss. I don't know, but I mean, I've never, we've never seen it, but maybe it's true. So, and I just think that
Football
a lot of
players, man.
times, I think a lot of times when you get guys in certain situations, I think some guys are better in football games than they are in practice. I think some
Mhm.
guys are better in, certain situations, and I think that's why people talk up other people. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't really because they talk about DJ London every year. Oh, he's in the best shape of his life. Oh, he's in it. Then I'm seeing some running back beat him by the edge by like 5 yards. I'm like, okay, well, best shape of his life. It's
Nobody,
not.
I don't believe people still saying that. I think
Yeah.
we've seen enough of Lundy to know who Lundy
Well,
is
I'm just.
as a
I
player
mean,
and what he
I
can
mean, I
do.
just think it is what it is with these players. With sometimes, I just think. I mean, you have to feel content. If you cover Florida State 24/7, 27, 275, 275, 375 about a year. I mean, you got to feel content. So you might talk about Stephen Dick's comeback. You know what I'm saying? You might have a day
Yeah.
we have a Stephen Dix Jr. comeback and how he's in the greatest shape of all time. And they found some medical procedure that fixed his hip and now he's ready to run. And then nothing really comes of it. You know, so that happens, man. It happens. You know, it happens. So I don't get upset about it, but it just is what it is. So I
Okay.
think we're done with the defensive group pretty much. But the defensive back group is going to be interesting. So when you talk about guys that might transfer out, the only one I can really see the potential leaving is probably Kevin Knows the second, only
Yeah.
because he has room to transfer, but like Greedy Vance can't transfer because he's already transferred once.
Again, Grady
Travis
Vance
Travis J
was.
could Travis J
I
could,
don't
but
think
I
Travis.
mean I don't think he would. You know,
Here's the thing, and this is and the reason why I think we haven't seen a lot of transfers. We may see some after the spring game. I mean, you're gonna have to see a couple of them after the spring game, but I don't think you're gonna see mass exodus. And the reason why is because I do think people want to play for winners. Florida State hasn't been a winner, so it makes sense for people to leave and decide, all
yeah.
right, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like we ain't going nowhere, no way, we ain't doing nothing anyway. So if I ain't playing, I at least need to go to where I can play. I can go lose anywhere.
But I
But I
think they
do think
get
you can look around this year and they can say, man, I have a chance to be a part of a team that's going to be in top five
yeah.
for the majority of the season. Going to be in
Mhm.
big games. Going to have a lot of really good matchups. And so I think they can look around and say, all I got to do is have a good game. I can flash, and you know what I mean. I can have a couple flash plays, and it's going to elevate my profile versus me balling out over at Middle Tennessee State. You get what I mean? So I think you probably won't see as many players transfer just because of that. Not to mention, I do think you got a team who legit likes each other too.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I think you get at least 5 transfers. I think you get 5 or 6 of them.
Oh man.
So I think you get 5 or 6 of them. I know. I mean, when you go to the offensive side of the football, I mean, I can see 5 guys just off the rip. You know what I'm saying? Like to my O linemen and some of these tight ends that may not be any good. You know what I'm saying? So you never know.
Tight end, yeah, yeah. Again,
You never know.
we'll dive in all. I think defensively though, I really don't see a lot of people leaving. I do think there is opportunities
I
for
think there's a chance
you
you
know.
keep. Yeah, I think there's a chance you keep most of those guys. I'm just saying if I could see guys leave, I mean, I could see maybe one out of the defensive back room, maybe one
Mm-hmm,
out the linebacker room.
mm-hmm. I can see that. Yeah, but again,
I
that
personally think
you're
all the
gonna lose a
defensive
couple
ends are
of
going
them.
to stay. I think the defensive ends are going to stay, but I wouldn't be surprised if one left. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
I agree.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So With that, let's go to. I think we got one last segment here. Recruiting's looking pretty good, actually. Recruiting looking pretty good. Feeling pretty good
Yeah,
about recruiting. How you feeling?
I will say this. For the first time ever, I think this is the time I can look around and say, I feel like they are on the right track. You know what I mean? Just there was a
Yeah.
long period of time where we weren't even in the top players, top 10,
Right.
let
Mm-hmm.
alone top 5. You know what I mean? Let alone
Right.
top 3. Right now,
Yeah.
you're getting visits from all the top players where you couldn't even you couldn't host a visit. You like they weren't coming. We don't need to see it. We good. You know what I mean? We appreciate you. And
Right.
the ones who did come never had you on their list. Not for real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, now you are projected to in a lot of top players. Again, we don't cover recruiting like that, but so I'm not finna, rattle off a whole bunch of names. But every time I look up on, I'm on social media, I'm on these, on fan sites and stuff. A lot of 5 stars, a lot of 4 stars, a lot of top, blue chip players have Florida State in their top 5. Have articles. They're leaning this way. Good players. Hey, I think we might shut it down. I think we're gonna stick with Florida State. Those are things that didn't happen and hasn't happened in the past. So I think this may be the best. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just a cohesion, if Mike has learned better on the job and he's improved in some areas. I can't say for sure what it is, but what I can tell you is that they are in a much better place when it comes to recruiting and being able to secure a top 10 class than they've been in the past, 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, I
Great,
think
great,
they're in a
great,
much.
great.
I think they're doing much better in recruiting. I got to see them close out a number 10 class. I got to see that for myself.
Is
But I
there?
do
Yeah,
think
it's
they're
still
gonna.
wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still waiting to see. But I do think I think they definitely finished top 15, which
Mm-hmm.
that'll be a huge leap from what they've done in the past. I think recently they've been hitting what 22, 23, I think. So this year they have a chance, I think, to hit 15, which that's a pretty big jump in talent if you can get you 22, 23 players and hit them in the top 15. I think your quarterback position pretty much set. I think what you're gonna have to do,
Running
what you're
back.
doing in the offense, yeah, what you're doing in the offensive line is gonna be pretty dope. I think you're gonna keep that running back. I was concerned about him last year. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still a little concerned about Cam Davis. You know,
Cam said he
uh,
almost ready to shut it down though,
yeah, they
and
always
that's
say
that was
he
one of the
gonna
play,
shut
and
it
that's
down.
what I'm
I
saying. Like
mean, but
again,
see,
he may not, he may, I don't know.
that's why I never can get into recruiting because these kids be like, "Oh, I'm finna shut it down. I'm finna shut it down. Oh, this is where I want to
And then
go."
they'll
Then
be at
next thing you
Alabama next
know,
week.
you on signing day, and they throwing your hat across the stadium. you know, you
Yeah,
know,
they got 3
and
hats,
then
one
you,
you ain't seen before this whole recruiting cycle.
yeah,
You be like, wait, when did they get in there?
and
Yeah, when did they get
and then
involved? Yeah.
you don't got some kind of way you find out that you're emotionally tied to what some teenager is just decided to do or not do. I don't like that.
The Travis Hunter one did. The Travis Hunter one ended me. I'm out. I'm out. The Travis Hunter one ended me. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. After Travis Hunter, that was the one. That was the one that put me off. If y'all don't hear us talk recruiting, it's because of Travis Hunter, man. Like I can't follow play. I was emotionally invested in Travis Hunter's life, and when I started getting those phone calls that early in that week, I was like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. This ain't gonna happen.
yeah,
And then it happened.
yeah,
So no, I can't do it.
yeah.
Y'all.
So it is what it is, man. But I think if they can just get a top 10, top 15 to 10. So they get 15 to 10. I'll be pretty happy with that type of class. We
Right.
haven't. I'm gonna tell you right now. We haven't even got to the offense yet.
I was gonna say
Pops,
you have to come back
we ain't
next
got to
week. Yeah, come
yeah,
back
we're
next
gonna
week.
get to the
We'll
offense
talk
next week.
about it.
But I plan on hopefully we can do one middle of the week, so we can finish
Okay.
on the offensive side.
So we
But
can do offense. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, man. So I feel like they're gonna finish with the top 15 class, which I'll take that any day of the week. I think if they can hit it right, maybe they can hit a top 8, top 7 class. So that's ideally that's kind of really where you want to be at. They can be there consistently,
I think that's what
you
they
know.
want to. Again, along with them having championship aspirations, I do believe I think Mike wants to be able to say I've secured a top 10 class. You know what I mean? Whether it's 10, 7 or 8. I don't think it matters. I do believe
Mm.
he wants to be able to say I've now secured the top 10 class, because what that means is now we can say, all right, this year is not just a flash in the pan because you got a lot of seniors and you know got a lot of guys returning, but at least in the future we can say, all right, we got some guys who are coming who should also be able to take us in, you know, who we can continue this level of success. And that's, I think, that what will tell us how good Mike Norvell is. Can he continue this same level of success? Outside of just, you know, a 1 year where, again, I'm trying, you know how you try to like calm yourself down from saying like they could possibly win the championship, but I mean, realistically, that's really where they can't, you know, what their goals are. That's what I believe they can do. And so in my opinion, you know, recruiting is where it starts. They've done a really good job this year. Again, they're in rooms that they haven't been in the past. They're in the top 5s of players who hadn't get paid them any mind in the past. And so right now, they just got to close. And I think they do close. And I think they do close if they end up winning the games that they should win. They go out there and ball out this year. They again in the top 4 or whatever. Those guys who are on the who are in the top 3, you gonna pull them. You know what I mean? Whoever's in their top 5, top 3, they're gonna pull them. Like you said, they are. They've gotten better recruiting every single year. They've gotten better at coaching every single year. Me and you said first, you know, this isn't a learn on the job program. You got to come out here. We were wrong in that one. Or at least I know I was wrong in that. You know, this is he has learned on the job and he's improved every single year. And I think that's a mark of a good coach and a good program. So, hey, keep working, keep getting better.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, right? You know, keep making adjustments to your staff. You know, recruit better. I think the coaching here is pretty solid. You know, I think the coaching is pretty solid. So the coaching is solid. You just got to recruit better, and I think, you know, it's hard, man. You know, it's so hard when it's so hard when that's championships.
It
Man.
really
so
is.
I was talking to me and Will were talking about this about well, we were having that debate about Terrell Davis or whatever. And you know, he was like, "Well, Elway didn't win anything before before Terrell Davis was on the team." And I was like, "Elway went to fucking 5 Super Bowls. I mean, you get credit for going." You know what I'm saying? Like he was winning.
Wait, hold on. You get credit for going to the Super Bowls? I thought they didn't get no credit because if you ain't win them, according to the LeBron James versus Jordan argument, I thought you don't get no credit for.
Well, you know, according to Twitter nowadays, the social media sports talk debates is you don't get credit for winning these games, going to these games. And I give people credit for going. You get credit for going. Now, but we talk about degrees of separation. It's the reason why we consider Montana better than Elway, right? Because Montana won them Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? Elway lost a lot of Super Bowls, but still great. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the degrees of greatness. We talk about degrees of greatness.
I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying to see where it's at.
I'm not finna do a LeBron James versus Michael Jordan debate on this podcast.
No. I was just trying to see. I was just trying to make sure we keeping it consistent. You know what I mean?
I've been consistent about this. You know, I told you. What did I tell you 4 years ago? I said 3 years ago. I said LeBron James is gonna be statistically the greatest basketball player to ever play the game. Did I not say that?
You did. Yeah.
I said that several times.
And he is. Yeah, he is.
And he still won't be better than Michael Jordan to me. Okay.
And we don't have no argument there.
All right.
Again, we don't have no argument. I've always said Jordan is over LeBron.
Because when I turn on ESPN and I see people like Donovan Mitchell going for 85 points and shit, I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I watch these NBA games now, man, it's just okay. So we ain't playing no defense. All right, got it. So these are all all-star games essentially. You know what I mean? All right. Bro. So the NBA is basically every night's all-star game until I get maybe the playoffs they'll play defense. I don't know because I said the same thing watching the all-star game. Like, all right, it's fourth quarter. They're gonna play defense now. And they never did. And I started watching NBA games, and it's the same thing. Nobody's playing defense. Like it's just dribble, shake, shoot. It's real bad. I ain't gonna lie. I can't even watch NBA games no more. It's real bad. Like it ain't fun.
It's okay. That's all I be saying. So that's why I told everybody, whatever. I don't want to hear NBA stats no more. I get it. Everybody scored a lot of points. I get it. Everybody getting triple doubles. Gotcha. Okay. All right. That don't make the NBA. That don't make this shit better. Okay. That's just numbers. Okay. I'm watching these games. Okay. I'm watching these games.
Just It's Sunday, so there'll be some NBA games on right now. You park yourself in front of the TV and watch what's going on in basketball. You're gonna be like, okay, I got it. All right. So,
Yeah, but I
all right.
mean,
So
at the
we
end of the
really
day,
ain't trying to
though,
stop them.
I'm liking what I'm seeing out of FSU and Norvell. Them, I really do. I think the season gonna be really good. But we're gonna get to the offense next week. I want to get it sometime next week. I want to do something on offense, and I want to talk about um the game philosophy. I think is going to change a little bit because of what the offense is doing now. So I'm actually kind of excited about that. And I'm working on a big guess. I'm hoping I get him because I want to get him on here so he can talk about offensive line play. I think that'd be very cool
Yeah, I
because
saw it.
he played for. Yeah, so I'm working on that. So hopefully I can get that done. So yeah, man. Got anything?
Listen, no, same thing, man. I do think we have a very good season. I think me and Sam both probably will be at the spring game. So we might, you know what I mean, we might have some fun together, you know what I mean. Like I say, me and Jacksonville's a very big city, and me and Sam stay on like 45 minutes probably apart from each other. So we'll get a
Actually, we
chance to
don't
hang out.
anymore though. We don't anymore. I'm over on Chafee now.
Say less. I didn't know
Yeah,
you was off of Chafee. Okay,
yeah,
well
I'm on
now you
Chafee
right around the
now.
corner. Oh, you right around the
Yeah,
corner then. All right.
yeah.
Well, listen, we're gonna have to definitely get together then. But yeah, man, like I said, well, Sam used to be 45 minutes from, you know what I mean? Sam used to
That's
be
true.
45 minutes from it. So, you know, we ain't get a chance to hang out like we need to, man. But you know, like I said, this season we're gonna do things a little differently. And we definitely gonna try, like I said, we're gonna try to go to the spring game and we'll have some listen up shirts or whatever with us. We'll make it. We'll make some things, man. We're gonna do some things this season because I do have a feeling this is gonna be a very very good season, and so we want to make sure we you know y'all favorite podcast is represented. So
All right, man. Oh man, somebody talking about the March Madness rankings. You know what's funny, dude? Kansas State. I like watching them play, but man, FAU just took them all up and threw it, man.
them
Took
South
them
Florida
boys
boys
all up.
hooping, but
Them boys
them
took
South
them
Florida
all up
boys
and
hooping.
yeah,
Yeah,
they took them all up and threw it, man. But all right, man, that's the pod. All right, that's the pod.
Mike, we got you.
Yeah, definitely. That was